Hey, welcome here to a brand new episode. I'm your host, Dr. Faith Elizabeth Nanyonga. If you're listening in today, I'd like to take this minute to thank you for each and every time that you tune in to listen to me as I teach about career development and personal development. Your support is invaluable to me, and I don't take it for granted. If it's your first time here, welcome to the Frame Solution podcast. And if you'd like to be a fan, there are 3 ways you can support this show and spread the love. Every single share, subscribe count matters, so do not think your efforts go unnoticed. The first way you could support this show is by leaving a review in Apple Podcasts. Reviews not only make the world a better place for me, as the podcast gets to many ears, but also rank our podcast higher in the podcast charts. You can subscribe to this podcast so that you do not miss out any episode as they are released. And also, you could choose to be a guest on the podcast by sending in an email. The email address is theframe. Hi guys, welcome to the Frame Solution podcast. My name is Dr. Faith Elizabeth Nanyonga. If it's your first time, welcome to the Frame Solution podcast. I'm glad that you're tuning in. I'm delighted that you've joined me. I know there are many new listeners to this podcast, and I'm delighted that you are here to listen to me today. And while you're here, if it's your first time and you haven't grabbed my free blueprint to career clarity, you can find the link in the description of this episode. Please download it and fill it in. It will help you get clear on what you want out of your career. So to start it off, let's talk about overcoming fear. How do you overcome fear? I might come off as someone who is very brave, but I also have some conceited fears that I've had to overcome over the years to get where I am. One of them has been the fear of others. Fear of others, meaning that I've been so scared to do a lot of things because I had that fear that how will people perceive me? How will people know my value? How will I come across if I put myself out there? One way that I've overcome this is through biblical principles. When you read Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, it talks about the parable of the talents. And in that parable of the talents, Jesus explicitly states what the parable is about. He tells us that this boss had 3 guys. He gave the first one 5 talents, the next one he gave 2, and the third one he gave 1 talent. The one he gave 5 went and invested his talent and came back with profit. Likewise, the one who received 2 talents was also able to invest the talents and come back with profits. But the one who had only 1 talent kept his talent and buried it in the ground. When the boss came back, he didn't have anything to show except for that 1 talent that he had buried in the ground. What happens is that the master becomes very furious about it and tells him that whatever he had should be given to other people. So what he had, the 1 talent, was given to someone else. That propelled me to take action. It propelled me to get out of my comfort zone, because I know if you believe in God, you know that God put you on this planet for a reason. He put you here to do His will, to fulfill a given purpose. So if you don't do that purpose, what's going to happen? What you have is going to be taken away from you and it will be given to someone else. Think about it. If the knowledge you have, the skills you have, you don't put them to use, someone else will do the same thing that you would plan to do, even with the slightest knowledge, even with the slightest budget, even with the slightest skills than what you have. So taking action implies that you are fulfilling your life's purpose on earth. Number 2 is knowing that fear is supposed to propel you to go ahead. Fear is supposed to be that thing that propels you to take action. Our bodies are made in such a way that we experience fear. We have made in that primitive way that our nervous system, if it perceives something fearful, it will retaliate. But if you use that fear to propel you, what's going to happen? You're going to get ahead. So before we continue, I'd like to tell you that I've started a YouTube channel. Its name is Faith Liz's Corner. On that YouTube channel, I'm actually going to integrate whatever I speak about on the podcast in the YouTube videos that I release. But this podcast was primarily started to help people advance their careers. So, and with advancing your career, what usually happens, the rest of your life also falls in line. If you have a career that you want, you'll have to take care of your health, you'll have to take care of your mindset, you'll have to take care of your body. So my YouTube channel is going to encompass most of the things that I talk about. That was something that I'd say that I would introduce to you. So if you'd like to support my YouTube channel, the link will be linked in the description of this video. My channel is called Faith Liz's Corner. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it. And if you can't find it, I'll leave a link in the description of this episode for you to subscribe to it. One thing that I've noticed about fear is that fear stops us from fulfilling our life's purpose. If you let the fear that you have stop you from what you're supposed to do, you're not going to get anywhere. You'll see everyone else get ahead and you'll still be stuck in that place that you're in. If it's applying for that job that you've been eyeing all this time, but you look at the job description and you're like, oh my goodness, they ask all these skills, but I have only 20% of the skills that they're looking for. If you do not apply for that job might be given to someone else who is even less qualified than you. Let's say if you want to apply for scholarship to study abroad and you're scared to apply for the scholarship because you don't know what to do, embrace that fear and apply for that scholarship. Number 3 I want to talk about is with any fear, you have to be able to identify that fear. Identifying the fear means that you sit down with and zero down the reasons as to why you're afraid. I do this very many times. Many times when I'm scared to do something, I'll sit down and I'm like, wait a minute, Faith. Why am I scared of taking action? What are the things that are stopping me from taking this action? Say, I've shared it in my YouTube video. I had YouTube on my mind for 6 years. But during that whole time, I was like, you know what? I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to film. I'll need an expensive camera. Who will listen to me? What am I going to do about YouTube? How will I even record videos? How will I get out of my comfort zone? I'll have to learn a lot. I'll have to put myself out there. I'll have to deal with the naysayers and the critics of YouTube. So I had all those fears on my mind and they stopped me from taking action. It was until I was like, you know what, Faith? Let me identify this fear and let me tackle it from its root. How I tackled this fear is that I sat down and I'm like, if I want to start YouTube, what do I need to do? First, I need to record the videos. Second, I need to schedule the videos. Third, I need to publish the videos. So I sat down and I was able to get those steps that I had to do, and I divided them into small, manageable things that I would do. Also, when I was starting my YouTube channel, I was like, okay, I might not want to put my face on YouTube, but I can do a voiceover because I have a podcast. I know how to record podcasts, so I can use my podcast knowledge to record voiceover and play the voiceover on my YouTube videos. And that's exactly what I did. So if you want to overcome fear in your life, you have to make sure you identify that fear and also devise a technique that's going to help you solve that fear. Number 4 is start small. Start with what you're comfortable is. Getting out of your comfort zone requires you to have that energy and that zeal to do so. I've been in my comfort zone for so long, but what I've noticed is that if I want to get out of my comfort zone, I need to start small. Let's say you're trying to apply for a job. You've seen the jobs that you want, but you don't know how to go about applying that job. Start small. Start by saying, today I will look at the job description and I'll write down the points that the job description is saying that I need to have. After I've written down those points, I'll go and get my cover letter and try to write down the responses to that job description in my cover letter. After I've done that, I'll look at my resume or my CV and try to highlight those skills that they're looking for in that job in my CV. Those are small steps you're taking towards you getting that job. So do not overhaul your entire system because you want to change or you want to overcome fear. Start by tackling something small. As you tackle something small, what's going to happen? Your brain is going to gain that confidence to believe that what you're doing is the right thing. And you'll provide proof to your brain to understand that if I've done this, that means I can do B. If I've done point A, that means I can get to point B. That proof is going to get you out of that fearing cycle that you're in and you'll be able to take action. Number 5 is practice self-compassion. Whatever step you take, you have to be compassionate towards yourself. If you've made that slightest change today, celebrate it. Do not beat yourself down because you have not achieved what you want to achieve. Celebrate that slightest change that you've made along this journey and In no time, you'll be able to look at your progress and you'll be able to know that you've come a long way. It's best for you to sit down and get yourself a journal. Let that journal be the book where you write down those fears, self-conceited fears that are in your life. Write them down every day and tackle them as you write them. Be truthful to yourself as you're doing these journaling prompts. Journal your fears and look at the reasons as to why you're scared and look at the solutions that you can implement. Probably you might need to talk to a career coach, you might need to talk to a career counselor, or you might be able to get yourself a mentor who's going to help you understand why these fears are recurring in your life. The next one I would like to talk about is surround yourself with a supporting system. A supporting system could be your colleagues, your mentor, your boss, your spouse, a career counselor, a career strategist, or even a career coach. If you have this support system, it's going to believe in you, it's going to tell you what you need to do, and will encourage you along the way. I cannot stress this much. You are a product of the 5 people you surround yourself. If you're surrounding yourself with people who are not making it, the naysayers who are just stuck in their comfort zone, that fear is not going to go out. And even be choosy on who you tell your goals. Be choosy on who you share with your aspirations. I recall when I was advancing my career at the start of my professional life, there was this guy I really looked up to. He was one of the seniors at my workplace. And one day I told him, I would like to go and study in the UK and do my master's in the UK. His answer was, Faith, you're very ambitious. And looking back at that, I thought that he was on my side by telling me I was very ambitious. But his answer was more of a deterring force that kept me stuck. For a while, I didn't really make any progress on my career ambitions because I was like, I don't want to come off as someone very ambitious. So be choosy on who you share with your career aspirations. Find yourself a like-minded community and like-minded people who you can share with your fears, who you can share with your aspirations, your struggles, and also who can celebrate your wins and your accomplishments. For you to overcome your fears, you also have to understand that you are only going to become better if you stretch yourself out of your comfort zone. There's no one who has achieved anything by staying where they are. Being stationary and being stagnant is not going to get you anywhere that you want to go. So embrace the fears, but do it anyway. Embrace the fear, but take the step. Embrace the fear, but know that the good thing lies ahead of you. Work on your goals in incremental steps. Instead of you expecting immediate outcome when you've gotten out of your comfort zone, know that it's going to take you time to achieve the success that you want. Even people who win the lottery, they have to buy the tickets and they have to try until they've won the lottery. So the same applies to you and your career. If you want to get ahead, each day make a conscious effort to take a step ahead, regardless of whether you're scared or not scared. Feel the fear, but do it anyway. I'd like to end this episode by telling you that in case you want to work with me and you want to overcome your fears and get ahead in your career, you can book yourself a free career clarity call for 30 minutes. In the description of when you book that call, we shall talk about the things that you want to achieve in your career. If I find that you are fit for my career clarity coaching, we shall discuss this further, and I will equip you with the knowledge, the skills, and the mindset that you need to get ahead in your career. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch you in the next episode. I'm so excited for season 3 of this podcast, and I can't wait to hear from you. If you haven't connected with me on social media, the link is in the description. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and